Hello everyone, I'm Brad Johnson, creator and founder of AetherX, and welcome to the next tutorial video where we're going to be talking about the Prana Bed Kit. I also have one of the pillows here that I can demonstrate shortly as we'll get a little bit more into the functionality of the Prana Bed itself. But firstly, taking a look at the Prana Bed. The Prana Bed Kit works with your own life force energy contained in the solar plexus and is distributed throughout to repair and rejuvenate the physical, mental, and emotional bodies. So what this means is that as you get the Prana Bed Kit, it comes in the mail and it comes in a bag, and you would just unpack the bag, put everything on the bed, which includes a loose bed sheet, a duvet cover where you can actually put a quilt inside of it, and 2 pillowcases. And what you'll find on each of the components of the bed kit are these flowers. Now again, we have 4 different color themes of the Prana Bed Kit. This one here is gold. We also have a blue one, we also have a pink one, and we also have a gray one. Okay? But they all contain the same parameters. So when you get the bed kit, when you start to activate the bed kit, you want to focus on these golden flowers, or again, with the appropriate color theme, there'll be different colors. But you basically want to look on this color shape here, because it's through this color shape that you're actually putting the hand to activate the Prana Bed Kit itself. Now, always important that when you are looking to activate the bed, the instruction manual is on the website, right? So you just go to AetherX.co and you'll find the PDF instruction manual for the Prana Bed Kit, as well as all of the appropriate PDF instruction manuals for all of the products on AetherX. So as you place your hand upon the bed, right, if I'm putting my hand there on the flower, and I'm just saying Prana Bed activate healing mode, or Prana Bed activate sleep mode, right, then it will certainly happen. Now we want to do it for all 4 components. We want to do it for both the pillowcases, we want to do it for the bed sheet, and we want to do it for the duvet cover. So we can activate all 4 components one at a time. And there are 4 different modes to the Prana Bed. We have the healing mode, we have the sleep mode, just as you heard me say with these 2. We also have a concentration mode, which I'll get into in just a moment, and we also have a universal sleep and universal healing mode. Now the healing mode is very similar to like what I've talked about with the AetherX apparel, where you're placing your hand on the symbol of the shirt and you're activating it in healing mode, and it works with your organs, it works with your glands, it works with your bodily systems, it works with your energy systems. Okay? That's the healing mode, and again, it's quite sophisticated for the Prana Bed. The Prana Bed has the deepest of all the healing modes, as it works in a lot more of a thorough nature to cleansing, repairing, and rejuvenating the body. And of course, we have the sleep mode. Now, the sleep mode basically has all of the functions of the healing mode, right? So the healing mode is basically inside the sleep mode. The sleep mode has some additional caveats to it. One of those caveats would be the idea of how it's helping you to go into a deeper state of rest. So it's basically balancing out your brain waves. So it's balancing out the beta, the alpha, the theta, the delta waves of your brain, bringing you into a much more slower state of rest. So as it's balancing out the brain waves, you're noticing that the brain is moving into a much more slower cycle as it's going from the beta, going all the way down into the delta, decreasing in the amount of hertz so that you can get a good night's sleep. This also helps with certain astrological alignments. Now, of course, as I'm doing this work, as I've studied this work for the past 15 years, I look into much more of the, I would say, the true science. The true science certainly represents the nature of looking into numerology, looking into astrology, looking into the ancient sciences, which nowadays much of the mainstream calls the alternative methods, but that would not be correct. I would actually call mainstream much more of the alternative method, and actually looking into these ancient healing methods, these ancient traditions as the true sciences, right? So one of those true sciences that's contained inside the sleep mode is working with astrology, right? I'm sure there's probably a lot of people on the YouTube channel here who follow astrology or are aware of astrology. And what we're doing with the astrological alignments through sleep mode is we're helping to create a dampening of any malefic alignments that come through planetary alignments. And the Prana Bed is designed to help and dampen a lot of those malefic alignments through planets that are contained upon your chart. So it's helping to reduce and dampen the effects of malefic planets so that you can, of course, get a good night's sleep. That does affect us, right? You start studying astrology, you start seeing how the planetary alignments certainly affect mood, how they affect the events in our life, how they affect us, right? So it's a very, very important caveat to have within the sleep mode. Sleep mode also helps out with vivid dreaming and lucid dreaming. So if you're quite good with lucid dreaming, then this will be the perfect tool for you because it helps to assist and encourages lucid dreaming states. You'll also notice that when you're sleeping on the Prana Bed, you'll have some very vivid dreams. That certainly has been my case ever since I've been using the Prana Bed. Now, as I talked about, we're going to go into concentration mode. So what concentration mode is that you're able to speak to the bed. Brad, what does that mean? Well, if you're familiar with things like the tarot, if you're familiar with things like the oracle deck, if you're familiar with pendulums, right, you're able to utilize these particular forms of tools to communicate with. Well, it is no more different than this. As I've talked about, AetherX is spirit technology, but it's also living technology. What you're looking at here is a bed that is alive. When you're wearing the shirts are alive. When you're wearing the footwear is alive. Okay? When you're working with the AetherX charger mugs, the thermoses, those are alive. Every product on AetherX is a spiritual technology, but also a living technology, which means you're also able to communicate with it. This is why we're not looking at fancy schmancy electromagnetic technology. Can't really talk to those things. But when you're looking at this is something that is alive. This is something that's interactive because it is working with the source. And that's very important to remember. So going into concentration mode, you're actually able to talk to the bed. You're able to place your hand on the flower and tell the bed what you want it to do. So you may say to it, Prana Bed, go ahead and heal my knees. As my knees are very sore, I would like them to be worked on tonight. And it will be done. Prana Bed will hear you because it's your own intelligence. It's your own source intelligence that you're talking to through the bed functioning as a medium, right? So that's the nature of the concentration mode, right? If you feel like you're in a moody state, you're asking the Prana Bed, help to clear away these harsh emotions I have within myself because I want to be clear, okay? And the Prana Bed will go ahead and do it. So that is the natural living intelligence regarding the Prana Bed Kit. So concentration mode is basically a mode that you are setting and you are utilizing all of the power of the Prana Bed Kit to work together through you to help heal your issue that you are requesting the Prana Bed Kit work on, okay? So when you're setting these modes, the healing mode, the sleep mode, the concentration mode, the universal sleep and healing mode, which I'll get to in a moment, you're basically just activating one mode at a time, okay? Not all four modes are happening at the same time. So you're making sure that if you're at healing mode, then that's the mode that's coming in. If you're at sleep mode, that's the mode that's coming in. You're at concentration mode, that's the mode that's coming in, right? So concentration mode enables all of the bed to work together with your solar plexus to heal the area or areas that you state through concentration mode. Finally, we have universal sleep and universal healing mode. Now, this is something that was the newest addition to the bed because I've had customers, or supporters as I call them, rather than customers. I've had supporters come to me and say, Brad, I have a child with autism. I have a member of my family who is autistic or who cannot communicate properly. and that they are not going to be able to activate this bed based on the instructions. They just simply cannot communicate that. Is there anything that can be done to let the Prana Bed Kit work together with those who are nonverbal? And so I thought about it and I said, yes. I went ahead and I created what's known as the Universal Sleep and Universal Healing Mode. Okay? So what that means is that when you're using these three modes here, the healing mode, the sleep mode, and the concentration mode, what that means is that that's for you. Okay? These are the subjective modes. Okay? So you being the user of this bed, these three modes are specifically for that single user. Now, let's say, for example, that there are two of you, right? There's the wife and the husband, all right? The wife, sleeping on this side of the bed, decides to activate healing mode, all right? So she's going to sleep in healing mode. The husband, who is also aware of how to activate the bed, goes ahead and activates sleep mode, all right? So, two of them are sleeping in the same bed. The wife is receiving the healing mode of the bed. The husband is receiving the sleep mode of the bed. So again, these three settings are subjective, okay? You're sleeping in the same bed, but what's happening is you're actually having subjective experiences based on what you have activated. So the wife is activating her pillow. She could even activate this pillow if she wants, but again, she's only going to get her mode, okay? So if she's getting healing mode and she's activating these two pillows, she will only get healing mode through these two pillows. And she activates it through the bed sheet, and she activates it through the duvet cover. So through her perspective, she's getting healing mode. The husband's not getting healing mode at all. He's getting sleep mode, okay? He has activated sleep mode here, here, here on the bed sheet, here on the duvet cover. He is only getting sleep mode, okay? That's the difference with the nature of these subjective modes, and we could look at the universal sleep and healing mode as an objective mode, okay? So that's what we're going to get into here in just a moment. So when you're using these three, this represents subjective nature, right? You're being exposed to subjective modes. Now when we're coming into the universal sleep or healing mode, it only requires one user to put the bed into universal sleep or universal healing mode, all right? So how that's done is, let's say a mother comes in for her son. Her son is autistic. He really cannot communicate well. She comes in beforehand and she activates all four of these components into universal sleep mode, okay? When it is activated in universal sleep mode, her son now comes in, sleeps in the bed, doesn't have to do anything, and is reaping the healing benefits of sleep mode in universal mode, okay? So it's set to universal sleep mode by the mother. The son comes in, he doesn't do anything. He just goes into his bed and he falls asleep, okay? He doesn't do any activating, nothing of the sort, okay? But he's getting all of the benefits of sleep mode through universal sleep mode, okay? So universal sleep mode is the ability to activate the bed so that anybody who is on the bed will receive the benefits of sleep mode or healing mode, okay? This is the same thing with animals. This is the same thing with plants, okay? The bed works with all life, okay? Works with humans, works with animals, works with plants. Plants can actually be placed on the bed as long as you're careful, right? You're not knocking dirt or soil around the bed or anything of that nature, but you put it carefully on the bed and it is going to receive the benefits of the prana bed, because even though a plant doesn't have a solar plexus, it still has its own energy system, and that's what's being tapped into it. It does have a solar plexus, but of a different type. The solar plexus just represents the core. So the core of the plant would actually be receiving prana, would be receiving repair and rejuvenation, okay? So that's what happens when you put it in universal mode. A question may be that, well, Brad, if I have these three modes here in subjective mode, and let's say my dog jumped on the bed while it's in subjective mode, will they also get the benefit as well? Yes, because I've programmed that into it, okay? So animals can also receive the benefit of the three subjective modes. When I'm talking about the subjective modes, I'm basically talking to humans, okay? But animals will still get the benefits even if these three subjective modes are applied, and activated, okay? So the universal sleep and the universal healing mode is enabling the bed for anybody to come onto it, and those other people that are coming onto it do not need to do any form of activation with the bed whatsoever, okay? One person activates it in universal healing or universal sleep mode. Other people can go onto that bed and they reap the benefits of it being set to universal healing or universal sleep mode, okay? So I hope I made that clear in regards to the modes. And of course, we also have an amplification feature. Now, the amplification feature is just for these three, okay? It's not for the universal sleep healing mode, okay? So that is basically because the universal sleep and healing mode represents the nature of an objective experience, okay? So when you're looking at amplification, actually, let me go back. That's not entirely true. It is actually available for universal sleep mode, okay. And there is also an amplification feature, okay? So the amplification feature, when it's set to these three subjective modes, again, the person will receive the appropriate amplification, okay? Now that amplification can go anywhere from minus 99% to positive 100%. So what that means is if you're just going on the bed and you haven't even done any amplification, but you feel the bed is too strong for you, then what you can do is you place your hand on each of the flowers, and you can say to it, Prana Bed, decrease amplification by 50%, for example, if you want to cut it in half, okay? So I'm basically using either an increase command or a decrease command through the amplification. So Prana Bed, decrease amplification by 50%, and therefore it'll be in the minus 50% range, okay? If I'm in the bed, and I feel like I'm not really getting that much charge, but I'd like to get a little bit more charge, then I would just again place my hand on each of the flowers, and I would say, Prana Bed, increase amplification by 25% or 50%, etc. Now, very important when you're starting off with the Prana Bed, because some people in that sense, they may charge it up a great deal, and they can't get any sleep, even if they're in sleep mode, right? It's because you're putting way too much charge in the body. Okay? You're amplifying your solar plexus to distribute a great deal of life force, and that can keep you awake at night. So that's usually not what I would recommend. For people who are new, who basically have a lot of problems, a lot of issues, even chronic conditions within their body, what I would suggest to those people is for the first week, just working with healing mode, sleep mode, or concentration mode, okay? Without any amplification whatsoever, other than the idea of only using amplification to decrease the charge of the Prana Bed, okay? Not to increase it. So what I would suggest, firstly, for those who have heavy chronic conditions, who are heavily ill, who have a lot of problems within themselves, is just to start off with healing mode for 1 week's time, for 7 days, okay? After 7 days, when you feel like you've gotten used to healing mode, because you're basically just keeping the bed turned off at night. Why am I doing this? Why would I suggest that? Because you want to get used to the healing function of the bed first, just for a week, right? Not using the sleep mode just yet. This is for people, again, who have heavy chronic conditions, who are heavily ill, okay? We just want to work with the healing mode that is not during your bedtime, okay? So whether it's in the morning, the afternoon, the evening, just before going to bed, that's completely fine, all right? But when you go to sleep, turn the bed off, okay? And it's very simple to do that. You just place your hand on the flower, saying to yourself, either out loud or in your mind, Prana Bed, turn healing codes off, and the bed will be turned off, okay? That's all you gotta do, just on each flower. Prana Bed, turn healing codes off. Prana Bed, turn healing codes off. Prana Bed, turn healing codes off. Prana Bed, turn healing codes off, okay? And it'll be turned off. And that's what I want you to do just for the first week, okay? For those who have chronic conditions, who are heavily ill. So just working with healing mode for the first 7 days. After 7 days, give sleep mode a try, okay? And then give the sleep mode a solid week, a solid 7 days. After 7 days, if you want to now start working with the amplification feature, I would suggest just moving up to about 5% intervals, right? So Prana Bed, increase amplification by 5% the first week. Second week comes Prana Bed, increase amplification by 10%, okay? And just continuing to follow forward in that way if you like to, okay? So if you are heavily ill, you have a lot of physical issues, you have a lot of chronic conditions, please do not use sleep mode right away, okay? Work with healing mode for 7 days, and then you can move into sleep mode, all right? That's what I would suggest. Okay, so that is an overview of the Prana Bed Kit. It's a little long, I know, but there's a lot of ground to cover with the Prana Bed because it is one of the most sophisticated technologies that AetherX has to offer, next to the Taurus bed, which I'll get into in a future video. Next part we're going to be looking into is the solar plexus prana, which means I'm going to tell you much more about the spirit science, about how the technology, not only for the Prana Bed operates, but for a lot of the other technologies that we have on AetherX, about how it operates working with solar plexus prana. From the Prana Bed to AetherX apparel, the footwear, the charger series, and the ether mat, all products in these categories operate using solar plexus prana as its power source. The AetherX transcendental codes within the geometrical arrays distribute the excess life force in the solar plexus to rejuvenate and repair the physical, energetic, mental, and emotional bodies. Now, the technology that exists in AetherX goes back into ancient roots. The Tibetans knew about this method, okay? The Indians knew about this method. Chinese know about this method, okay? What we're doing is we're actually just taking the excess amount of the solar plexus prana, and we are evenly, softly, subtly distributing it through the body based on the commands of the AetherX transcendental codes that are contained inside the geometrical patterns, the geometrical arrays upon the products. So just like what you discover through the Prana Bed, okay? So here's Prana Bed. I have a king-sized pillowcase here on a standard pillow, but it'll have to do. So again, these arrays here have codes, okay? These are the AetherX transcendental codes that I talk about. And when I'm going into an altered state of consciousness, I am going into that state, and the best way I could put to define the nature of the AetherX transcendental codes is it's like having pure thoughts, right? You have moved yourself into such a heightened state of consciousness that the very thought that you are projecting is that of purity. It's charged. It's charged through source consciousness. And that is exactly what's going into the geometrical arrays or the geometrical patterns. Just like you see these geometrical arrays here around me, or platonic solids, okay? What we're doing is we're just basically going into that heightened state of awareness. We're going into that heightened level of consciousness, and through the pure thought that is invoked and therefore imbued through intention to go into the geometrical pattern, that is the pure thought that issues the command or commands that is enabling this to happen, that is enabling all of the technologies that is contained on AetherX to happen. Okay? So that's basically one of the best ways I can give an idea about what's actually happening here, how this technology works, okay? So it's working with the geometrical arrays to, again, distribute the excess life force in the solar plexus to rejuvenate and repair the physical, the energetic, the mental, and the emotional bodies, okay? So it's not just the physical body we're looking at. Again, this is something that mainstream science doesn't teach you, okay? This is from the true science, as I've talked about. This is looking into the ancient ways. If you go back into looking at the indigenous ways, the ancient ways, and if you were able to talk to those people here today, all of this is like, well, yeah, Brad, this is common knowledge. This is common. It's exactly what we do, right? We work with the energy body. We work with the reserve battery of the solar plexus, okay? So why do we use the solar plexus? Because that is indeed the reserve battery of the body. This is what even the Chinese refer to as the Sea of Qi, right? It's right around the area of the stomach. It's in the solar plexus area. This is where all of your vital postnatal life force is stored. In Chinese tradition, this is also referred to as a dantian. Okay? We have 3 dantians in the body. We have a lower dantian, which represents the prenatal life force, but we don't touch that because that's prenatal. You only have a certain amount of supply with that. Okay? Then we go to the middle dantian, or the solar plexus, which relates to the nature of postnatal life force, which comes from the food, which comes from the water, which comes from the air, right? Everything that you are bringing into your body, representing prana, representing chi, representing ki, representing mana, life force energy, is all being stored in the river or the ocean or the sea of chi. And of course, we have the upper dantian as well too, which in Chinese tradition works with the energies known as shen, which is basically mental, intellect, intelligence, wisdom in that way. It's more of the mental energy, but we don't touch that either, okay? So we're basically just touching the reserve bank. We're touching the reserve battery relating to excess life force that is postnatal, okay? And this is the storage area to that postnatal life force. That's what we're tapping into. Like I said, this is coming from 15 years of my research, 15 years of intuitive discovery, 15 years of working together with others and discovering this secret, okay? That's the secret to AetherX, one of them. There's a second one, okay? The second one I'll be talking about will be when I'm doing the Taurus bed video, okay? Because that is not this at all. It's something completely different. But I wanted to share more of the inner processes of what the AetherX products are all about and their power sources. This is why I say is that you are the power source to all of the AetherX items that are available. You're providing the power because it's coming through your life force, it's coming through your backup excess vitality, and it's coming through your own intelligence. This is why you're able to talk to the bed. You are being one with the bed. The bed is working through you, through your own intelligence, working on an intelligence that's far beyond the conscious self, right? You're connecting with source intelligence, even goes beyond the subconscious. It is the superconscious, right? That's what you're communicating with. So that's giving you an idea of the solar plexus, prana, and the very battery, we could say, or the very power source that is being utilized for all of these products here on AetherX. So thank you very much for joining me for this tutorial on the Prana Bed Kit, and I look forward to speaking to you again in the next video.